Hey there, you're watching Live Now from Fox. My name is Alexandra Goldberg. It's good to be with you tonight. Our next story takes us out to Washington, D.C. You're taking a live look here at Capitol Hill as Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates was on Capitol Hill Wednesday as he answered questions from the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee about his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. His name has been included multiple times in the Epstein files released by the Justice Department. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Philanthropist Bill Gates testified before a House committee Wednesday about the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I hope my testimony is helpful to the important work of the committee to find justice for the victims.
Gates said Epstein offered in 2011 to raise money for his global health initiatives. Committee Democrats say Gates admitted he knew then that Epstein had pleaded guilty to sex crimes the year before.
When I asked him, are you saying that the ends justified the means? He said, well, that's probably too strong of language, but I felt that getting billions of dollars for global health was worth it.
Gates told the committee he never victimized anyone and never saw Epstein engage in criminal conduct.
No one's accusing Bill Gates of any wrongdoing.
The most salacious accusations are from a pair of draft emails where Epstein alleged Gates had gotten a sexually transmitted disease from a Russian woman and needed antibiotics he could secretly slip his wife.
Everybody in America has questions about that email.
The billionaire denies those allegations and knows he cut off contact years before Epstein was charged with sex trafficking minors. Gates is one of dozens of powerful men who deny any wrongdoing related to Epstein, including President Trump, who complained Congress is spending so much time on the issue.
Epstein. This guy. Why are they talking about him?
Chairman Comer says he wants to bring Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche back before the committee next month. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively. On top of that report, we're going to continue to talk about this. Let's take another live look here at Capitol Hill. As we were reporting, tech billionaire and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, he was on Capitol Hill today facing hours of questioning from lawmakers about his relationship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. It was a closed-door deposition, and Gates, he's the latest to testify in front of the House Oversight Committee amid its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Gates said that he made a, quote, grave error in judgment by meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, but denied any wrongdoing, as he repeatedly denied any knowledge of Epstein's abuse of girls. He had said the two met only to discuss philanthropy and previously describes the relationship as, quote, a huge mistake. We're going to talk about this further. Joining us now to discuss is legal analyst, victims advocate, and survivor Sherry Carney. Sherry, thank you so much for being with us here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So you've been following these depositions. What stood out to you in Gates' testimony today?
Well, first of all, he calls it a mistake. A mistake is running a red light. He calls it a grave error in judgment. A grave error in judgment is giving your deadbeat roommate cash. This is child sexual abuse allegations. This is sex trafficking allegations. We're not talking about misdemeanors. We're not talking about errors in judgment. We're not talking about mistakes. You ordered Rocky Road instead of Oreo cookie ice cream. This is very serious. And to just say he supports survivors, he needs to put his actions into his words. We can't have everybody using words when there's no action behind it. What is he doing for accountability? What is he doing to find justice for other survivors? There's 1,500 to 2,000 women, young children, and girls. And all of these men are saying they didn't know anything, they didn't see anything, they didn't hear anything. It just doesn't seem credible. I mean, you go to the Epstein New York property and there's naked women pictures everywhere. There's artwork, there's sex toys, there's massage tables, and there's young underage girls everywhere. How do you not see that? How do you not hear that? And I'm getting a little bit frustrated, as I'm sure maybe your viewers are too, that Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, every single person, Howard Lutnick, that comes before this committee says, I didn't know, I didn't see anything, it's a mistake. Really? These are billionaire, brilliant, perceptive, smart, aware, people, how can they not have seen anything? And also with Bill Gates. Bill admits that when he first got involved with Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein was already a convicted sex offender, having to register as a sex offender. With his resources, with his computer skills, with his huge crew of people at Microsoft, nobody researched Jeffrey Epstein. No one looked up when they arranged this meeting who this person was. Again, I really feel like survivors are paying the price of all of these, woe is me, I didn't know, I didn't see, I don't know anything. Ghislaine Maxwell says she never saw anything wrong. She was the madam. She was the procurer of these young girls and children. Everybody hasn't seen or heard anything. And honestly, it's really pushing the envelope for us all to believe that anymore. It's frustrating to me. And it's frustrating for survivors because all survivors feel that we have heard this kind of language from all of our alleged perpetrators and predators. They didn't know, it was a mistake, it was grave misjudgment, they're sorry. And then Bill Gates has the unmitigated gall to become the victim at this hearing, saying that he was blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein, that Jeffrey Epstein found out through Bill Gates' staff that he was having multiple affairs. Epstein allegedly told Gates that if he didn't do certain things, he would reveal the affairs to Melinda Gates. So then Bill took the next step and came out and told his wife. Then Bill Gates said he was being blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein, that Epstein alleged that he got a sexually transmitted disease from a Russian, quote, girl, probably an underage child, and that he needed to get antibiotics from Jeffrey Epstein. That one I really have disbelief about because Bill Gates leads one of the hugest medical nonprofits in the world that he couldn't get a private concierge doctor to come see him if he had a sexually transmitted disease and needed Jeffrey Epstein to get him antibiotics really is unbelievable. So I think that Epstein was trying to blackmail Bill Gates, but I don't think that, I don't understand what these men were doing hanging around this sex offender. They didn't need money. They didn't need connections. Bill Gates said that he was working on a donor-advised fund and needed Epstein's advice. Bill Gates is a billionaire. He's probably got a team of financial advisors. A DAF can be done by AI practically. It doesn't take Jeffrey Epstein to do it for him. So these stories, I really wish that some of these alleged perpetrators would at least start supporting survivors, not just in words, Alexandra, but in funding nonprofits that help survivors, such as RoarsOne.org, or a million nonprofits that they put their money into restitution, into helping survivors, into accountability, into investigations, into finding the root cause of this and giving survivors of Epstein and all these alleged perpetrators some justice and accountability. It's not right.
Sherry, you understand these depositions from the legal side of view, and I wanted to get into some legal definitions here. Gates noted that his appearance was voluntary, and he hoped his testimony would help lawmakers, quote, find justice for the victims. What's the difference between going in front of this committee voluntarily versus being subpoenaed?
Voluntarily is you choose to go. It's at your free will. A subpoena is a much stronger document. You're mandated to go. This is like an invitation to come. It's not an order to appear. It's an invitation. And what's disturbing to me is that these depositions are not videotaped for the public to understand what's going on. Everybody wants to know where the Epstein files are. Everybody wants the Epstein files released. Everybody wants justice for these survivors. Why aren't these sessions videotaped? And why aren't the news media allowed to broadcast it to the public? What are they hiding? What's the cover-up? And every one of these Epstein-class men has been protected. They're not even afraid to come in front of this committee anymore because they know nothing's going to happen. Nothing happened to Bill Clinton. Nothing happened to Howard Lutnick. Nothing happened to any of the people that have testified in front of this committee. I mean, the committee seems to have good intention, but no teeth. Where's the enforcement? Where's the investigations? Where's the prosecutions? Where's the indictments? Worldwide. So we've got perpetrators here in Norway, France, Sweden, the United States, United Kingdom, the UK. We're looking at a worldwide group of very powerful, very connected, very rich, very famous men. And they are being protected across the board. And I understand Bill Gates may be concerned that if he breaks the boy bond of the frat party at Epstein's house with underage children and girls, that there may be consequences for him, and maybe he's afraid. I don't know, but this mea culpa just doesn't work in terms of justice. I think that justice works. Indictments, arrests, investigations, prosecutions, jail if it's required. That's what's needed here. Not we support survivors. Talk is cheap. And I believe, as a good American and a good person, that our actions have to make and meet our words. If we care about these survivors, what are we doing for them? For Bill Gates to say he made a grave error of judgment, that's very disrespectful to survivors who are living a lifetime of trauma. I am a survivor myself, and I understand what trauma is like to deal with over a lifetime, and where justice is not to be had, and where the victim, their names were revealed, their names weren't redacted, the perpetrators' names were redacted, and their identities were hidden. And it feels like a massive, I think this is going to go down as one of the most egregious cover-ups in the history of the United States.
And Gates is just the latest person to be questioned in front of this committee. I wanted to ask you, moving forward, who's next to be questioned by lawmakers during this probe?
They said, one of my sources said they're going to call Alan Dershowitz in, which I highly doubt. And, you know, they're calling, and possibly Leo Black, and also the owner of the Limited and Victoria's Secret, that type of thing. But honestly, there's 1,500 victims, at least. There's got to be at least 500 men. So I hope this committee gets busy, because there's plenty of men to call. And I am concerned that none of this is followed up by anything other than a hearing. In other words, what result now? I can tell you what survivors want. I can tell you what they're hoping for. I can tell you what we're arguing for. But honestly, you know, Bill Gates treated this like an oops moment. I made a mistake. This crime of child sexual abuse, sex trafficking, the torture, and some of the murder of these Epstein survivors, allegedly, is not an oops mistake. It's catastrophic. And those responsible need all of us to hold them accountable, or the justice system will collapse. Alexandra, where is a legal system that has two sources of justice? 1% of the rich, famous, powerful, connected, no accountability. They can do what they want, when they want it, how they want it, at any time of the day, night, and in any place in the world. And then there's the rest of us. Are we going to stand for that? And is it right?
Sherry Carney, we thank you so much for coming on Live Now from Fox, sharing your insight, your analysis. I know you've been staying on top of this investigation, and we thank you.